sparkly. In case you haven't seen it, in my last video I took one of my most recent artworks down to the beach to publicly interview people about it. I asked about their opinion, if they could describe it in 3 words, what they generally thought, and I literally just wanted to put myself out there and see what other people's reaction to my art might be, because I've never had that before. Anyways, the artwork I'm talking about is this thing right here. I can't actually physically show it just because it's already shipped off on its way to its owner, which is really exciting. But since there's so much going on and I haven't done a video about my art in over a year, I wanted to use this as an opportunity to dive a little bit into the work, go over some details, some fun references, and bring the piece a little closer to you. First off, if you know nothing about what kind of art I do, just looking at this piece should give you a good idea. It's literally a typical piece I would do. I usually go for very detailed, symbolic, and kind of sinister charcoal or chalk pastel pieces. I usually always work with dry media. I can also do paint, but I just prefer dry media. Anyways, this particular piece is about 60 inches long and 30 inches tall, so it's a pretty good size to fill up a wall. Besides that, I love working on big scale just because I enjoy creating these fantastic landscapes. So the story of this particular piece, which is called A Greedy Playdate, I'm gonna get into the meaning of the title later. So the story of how this specific piece happened is somebody reached out saying, "Hi, I saw your YouTube video about your art. I love what you do. I'm intrigued by your work. I want this and that piece. Is it available?" I responded saying, "No, this and that piece is not available." But I do enjoy making custom artworks because what I love so much about my pieces is that they are so personal to me. All of my artworks, at least the ones I create for myself, are referencing my own childhood. I could literally just zone out at them. It's self-reflection, it's therapeutic. I always notice something new. It's a trip. Anyway, so what I said is, tell me a couple of references from your childhood and the size you want, and let me handle the rest. And that's exactly what happened. Apart from the 1,000 other symbols hidden in the artwork, the main references were Scrooge McDuck from DuckTales and the Grinch. When I heard this, especially the Grinch, I was like, yes. I was anyways planning on creating an artwork with that reference. I love it. Let's go for it. It's basically like creating an art piece for myself. So let me quickly also clear up the title. The title of this work is A Greedy Playdate because Scrooge McDuck and the Grinch are greedy in their own way. Scrooge financially and the Grinch emotionally. So since my artworks are always very whimsical and nostalgic, and a play date is basically 2 kids hanging out to play, I called it A Greedy Play Date. I don't know if that actually makes any sense grammatically, but in my current bilingual brain, I hit the nail right on the head. Let's have a look at the piece. The Grinch is not only referenced through the endless mountain landscape, which I generally like to do just because it adds depth, but also through the Grinch's actual mountain in the center of the piece. It's probably a if you know thing, or if you see it once, you can't unsee it thing, but I did incorporate the little opening to the actual cave of the Grinch, and if you look close enough, you can see the Grinch in there hanging from the little tip of his mountain, quite literally hanging, dead. I'm not even gonna start making up excuses for my dark creative mind. I love it. Anyways, and on the side of the Grinch's mountain, you have like a little, what is it, a treasure thingy? Like a, what is it? Let me Google it. A vault, an open vault with gold coins falling out, and under that golden shower is Scrooge McDuck sleeping, chilling, resting, living life. So you can say that I packed the 2 main references for this artwork right in the center where you can see them only at first sight if you're looking for them, but they are there. They are in the focal point, which is probably that Grinch mountain. And I do have to say, I'm very happy with that composition. The rest was my imagination going wild, so let's look at a couple of other fun features. Let's work from left to right. Not everything has meaning. Some things just look aesthetic. Some things just fit the theme. Not every artwork is supposed to change the world. Some of it is just supposed to help me process hidden trauma and look nice. Anyways, I used to love Super Mario growing up, so I included a little big mushroom in the back, referencing the typical Super Mario Brothers background. I'm actually not too happy with how that turned out, because I know I could do it better, but I was just getting into it because I work from left to right, so it's fine, but it's a very clear reference. Then, moving on to the right, there is at the tip of not even a building, I don't know what that is. It's a stack of things, of objects, of shapes. There is the tip of an ink pen, which always has had a very violent connotation to it for me. I don't know why, just because it's sharp and I always felt like you could stab your classmate with it. So anyways, there's a dripping ink pen tip right there. I guess that's a little difficult to recognize, but it's there. At the bottom, we just have a little underground situation going on. There's a filled bathtub with a building next to it. When I was drawing that, I remember I was like, wow, I remember being in Venice. I like this vibe. There is no actual reference of Venice. This is just my thought process that I'm kind of here explaining. Then there's a face, there's an oversized lighter. It's just a visual representation of my messy brain. Then what I do love is this box, because this box has facial features that directly reference the 1952 cartoon, The Little House, which in my opinion is one of the most underrated Disney cartoons out there. Most of you probably never even heard of it because all you know is Mickey Mouse, which is fine, no judgment, but I'm pretty passionate about Disney just because I take a lot of inspiration from it as well, so I also know the less popular cartoons. I generally like to reference and work with elements of time in my pieces, at least right now. I find myself naturally including those in multiple works that I'm currently doing. Doesn't really have a meaning. I can't even properly read the time, so the ironic part is I don't know what time I put on the artwork. Like, it's just what feels right. Someone tell me, what time is it on the clocks in this artwork? Like, I honestly don't know. Again, not only in this one, but in a lot of my current artworks, I started to reference dystopian cities. I think they just come across as dystopian because of the dark charcoal and because it's so stacked. But yeah, that's what's going on behind the Grinch mountain. I love to shade, I love to add depth. I naturally improve my skills with every artwork that I do. And one element of depth that I included in this one is a road that literally pulls from one side to the artwork all the way to the other side. It starts in the very back on the left side and goes all the way to the front and actually right by the title on the right side. This is something you probably only notice if you look at the work long and close enough, but it's there. For some reason, I also find myself to keep drawing hands. I do not have a hand fetish. I don't know what's going on. I just think the contrast between this realistic human element and all these cartoon style objects just looks great. And I would say when I look at my finished works, I plan about 70% of it. So I sketch everything out in pencil, then I go in with the charcoal, and then I do add some random things on the way. Some random things that I added in this work are this industrial windmill, but it's not actually a windmill. It has an eye in the middle. I love the eye. Then I wanted to draw a car, but it turned into a machine that looked like a car. I added a block of cheese, and right after completing the work, I wanted to add kind of like an animatronic animal. So I added this bird that is obviously a machine right behind the chair in the right corner. I don't know, it looks kind of evil and dark, so right up my alley. I love it, but there's always random stuff that I add. What a lot of people also notice is the obvious Mickey Mouse. I don't know what's going on here. It is a Mickey Mouse fridge. It looks like half of the fridge is in a tuxedo. The medium does a lot here. Charcoal is very dark. It's black and white and gray, and it makes everything look like the world is about to end, but I like that. That's what I'm going for. Another fun element that I want to mention is this lamp tree. I just loved the way it looked. The movement is great. I'm actually also including this in a current commission that I'm working on. Of course, not the identical thing, but the concept is there. Some other elements that I love to include in almost all of my artworks at the moment are little hidden doors, ladders, industrial textures like bricks, grass, metal plates that have been hammered on top of each other. So there's a lot going on in my work. Art is something extremely subjective, so by God, I know that not everyone will like my art. Some people will probably think my skill level is on like grade 3. Well, guess what? I never had an art class. I just enjoy doing it, and apparently more and more people like the way I see the world and put it onto paper as well. I'm not gonna excuse myself for that. I'm doing my thing, you do your thing. Let's all mind our own business and do what we love. So, with that being said, this is my brief and quick and fast-paced explanation of a greedy playdate. I hope this was interesting. If it wasn't, I'm sure you already clicked away, so thank you for still being here if you are. If you've made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. If you are genuinely interested in one of my artworks, feel free to reach out over Instagram. I see all of my DMs. I answer all the appropriate ones. And on that note, thank you guys so much again. See you next time and take care. Bye.